made you go into that route that, hey, I can be both. I can be an investor and I can be an entrepreneur at the same time?
I did my portfolio management course when I was during my army service when I was about 18. So I learned a lot about the stock markets and basically sort of got educated professionally about the markets relatively early on. And actually, for me, this was a big decision when I was about so when I when I was about 21, I really tried to figure out what do I want to learn as a profession. Is it computer sciences or is it finance and economics? And I decided to go towards computer sciences because I love building things.
Hi everyone, we are in for a very special treat for today. By popular demand, we have the CEO, the co-founder of eToro, Yoni Assia, joining us in the podcast today. So Yoni, how are you? How's everything there in Israel?
Everything is fine. Still handling obviously the corona epidemic here in Israel. Most people of the 1,100 employees of eToro worldwide, most of the employees are still working from office. But we're hearing of a vaccine coming soon. So we're very excited to see that and hope that next year will be a healthier and safer year.
I see the smile in your face. Are you happy because Bitcoin is surging right now?
During this entire year, what's been amazing for us at eToro was that we founded the company in 2007 with the vision of opening the global markets for everyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. And we always believed that our generation, Generation Y, people, 18 to 45, will explore and open up to capital markets. And this year was an extremely good year to eToro, since it seems that the combination of people working from home, as well as the most exciting markets, probably since 99, both the crypto markets, which are now at an all-time high, Bitcoin just crossed today the all-time high, but more than that, the entire stock markets, if you think about the stocks that really did well this year, are the stocks that retail investors in eToro have always been investing in, right? So it's the Tesla and the Microsoft and the Apple and Neo and Beyond Meat and renewable energy. So what's been really exciting is we had this opportunity this year where you have this macro effect of stimulus, governments printing unprecedented amounts of money and actually devaluing fiat currency, right? So fiat currency is being devalued, but you have the corona epidemic that's changing completely the markets and accelerating digital transformation across all industries. And then you have the stock markets where there's clear winners of this digital transformation. And these clear winners are actually the favorite stocks of retail investors. So retail investors are actually making profits because everything that's happening. And it is becoming viral because more and more people realize they can open an account with a credit card and $200 in 5 minutes, trade fractional shares commission free, and suddenly the markets opened to a whole new generation. And we definitely see this year as the rise of the millennial investor. So it's a very exciting year for us at eToro, looking at triple-digit growth numbers from 150% growth in revenues to 400% growth in customer assets. So a very exciting year to see after a long journey, sort of something like adds up and suddenly everybody's interested in what's happening both in the stock markets and the crypto markets at the same time.
So curious about this, and a lot of people may want to know what's your backstory? How did you start from where you were to being an investor and to start also this company that's now making a big impact in the world? How did Yoni become Yoni?
I started trading when I was about 13. So my father was a founder and a CEO of a Nasdaq-listed company.
Whoa.
And when I was relatively young, he taught me about the stock markets, which soon I should do with my kids. And he helped me open and set up a stock trading account when I was about 13.
Wow.
And I started trading, and I immediately fell in love in the markets. And I was eventually, I became a programmer. So I became a technology guy, and I did my first 2 degrees in computer sciences. And I always loved the intersection between finance and technology. So I love capital markets. I love how capital markets connect the entire world, and how money works, and how money is connecting the entire world. And when I started learning technology and started programming, I realized that I was trading with the bank website, which was a horrible user experience. And I started realizing how bad financial applications look like.
Hmm.
And I started the company together with my older brother, who basically ran a product in the company. His background was industrial design. And when he saw me trading, right, with multiple screens and charts, and the newspapers, he always used to tell me, Yoni, it looks like, when I hear you talk about the market, it sounds exciting and it sounds like interesting things are happening. But when I look at what you're doing, it looks like you have an accountant hobby. Uh, and we started brainstorming about the fact that the entire way to trade and invest from a user experience is horrible. And because of that, people think that trading and investing is complex, it's intimidating, it's boring, it's frightening. But the truth is that choosing a stock that you love, understanding their business, looking a bit at their financial, and thinking about where they will be 5 years from today is not complex. And if we're able to build the user experience to bring in more people to actually participate in the markets, which is what we've done with eToro, then we can actually change something significant in the market. And that's how we started the company in 2007. We said, let's hack the user experience. Let's build a better user experience for people to access the global markets. And why the global markets is so important? Because if you think about financial markets, they're still hyper local. Most people in Israel still trade Israeli stock. Most people in Germany still trade German stock. But gradually, it was very clear to us that people will want to invest globally in the best companies in the US, in the best companies in Europe, in the best companies in Hong Kong. And we wanted to create a platform that is truly global to enable people everywhere to invest everywhere in a simple and transparent way. And that's also how we came up with the social trading network. So when we built the platform at the beginning, we saw a lot of people talking to one another because we added a chat feature. And then we saw that they constantly asked really the same thing. They were asking, what are you trading right now? And afterwards, what did you do with that trade? You told me yesterday you bought something. Did you actually close it? And the entire chat was about people talking about other people trade. So we said, okay, so why not just build a network so people can actually see what everyone's doing? And that was the beginning of the social network. And I remember this is, now I feel a bit old, but this is 2008 and 9. This is one where the global financial crisis hit the world. And second, this is really the beginning of Facebook and Twitter and the social networks. So we built a social network that enabled our users to actually see what everybody's doing and to talk to one another while seeing their track record. And then we added the concept of copy trading afterwards, which enabled people to automatically copy top traders from all over the world. And ever since, the concept of social trading and copy trading for us was really the front and center of how we educate people about the markets. So instead of just telling people how to trade and what to trade and what's the right decision, we enable through the social network for people to talk to one another and to learn from one another. And if you think about it, that's really the way we learn most things in life, by observing what other people are doing and if you're smart, copying the most successful ones out of them.
Investing on your own and starting a new company, jumping into entrepreneurship are two different paths also. What made you decide that, hey, I'm not just gonna be a stock investor, I'm gonna start my own company also connected uh, to the stock market? Because a lot of stock investors, traders, they just want to be investors. They just want to be traders. They don't want to be entrepreneurs. What made you go into that route that, hey, I can be both, I can be an investor and I can be an entrepreneur at the same time?
I did my portfolio management course when I was during my army service when I was about 18. So I learned a lot about the stock markets and basically sort of got educated professionally about the markets relatively early on. And actually, for me, this was a big decision when I was about so when I was about 21, I really tried to figure out, what do I want to learn as a profession? Is it computer sciences or is it finance and economics? And I decided to go towards computer sciences because I love building things. I love creating things, and just to be on the investment side really wasn't enough for me. eToro, before eToro, I founded another company called CD Ride. So I had that experience together with a couple of other partners who were more experienced than I was back then. So I co-founded with them this company, CD Ride, when I was about 21 or 22, when I left my army service as a programmer. And then afterwards, we founded eToro together with my brother and due to a third co-founder, after sort of we already had that experience of foundation of startups. I have to say that also, a big thanks to, my father, who himself was an entrepreneur and a founder, and my grandfather, who himself was also a founder and entrepreneur of a bank. So we've had a lot of sort of this history in the family that told me that I can do it. That sort of led the path to be able to sort of get over the fear of trying to be an entrepreneur and start building our own business. And Israel also is a very good place for startups.
Yep.
So it's I think one of the highest startup per capita places around the world. So there's a very advanced both VC community, high-tech community. Now there's also a fintech community. We were lucky to be at the right place at the right time. Though it's interesting because when we started with the concept of eToro in 2006 and started pitching it to investors, most investors told us we can't do this out of Israel, that we have to move to New York or London if we want to build a financial services company. We sort of said, no, we'll do it out of Israel because it's an internet company, it's a technology company. And now, 14 years later, obviously, fintech is a very large industry in Israel as well.
True enough. Fintech is not the future. It's already everything right now. And if there's one thing that's amazing, this pandemic has pushed fintech, I think, 5-7 years at a much, much faster pace. So that's a very interesting story. Just a follow up on that. What's riskier for you? Starting a business, investing in stocks, or cryptocurrencies?
It's all about risk management, right? But generally, starting a business, I would say, is probably the riskiest because it's hard to diversify. So you can't start 10 businesses. You can set up a portfolio with 10 different stocks. The risk will be quite limited, especially if you diversify between non-correlated stocks, different industries, different geographies, etc. So definitely starting a business is putting all your eggs in one basket. But as you grow the business and as you succeed, it becomes less and less risky, but also, very high risk, high return, building your own business and deciding to quit your job. I think cryptocurrency is obviously more risky than stocks because it's very hard to diversify in cryptocurrencies. So you can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP and others, but they're all highly correlated. So unlike capital markets, which are extremely diverse, and you can invest in McDonald's and in Coca-Cola and in Boeing and in Tesla and in Apple and diversify your portfolio, cryptocurrency in general is still highly correlated space. So it's almost like putting everything in one direction when you're investing in crypto.
Kudos to the entire eToro team. It's amazing. It looks like a social media platform, but you're trading and investing stocks, and it makes it relatively easier for people who don't have any background in finance. That hey, I'm just sticking the logo of McDonald's. I'm just sticking the logo of Nike, and just clicking it allows me already to buy shares off of it. My question next is this: where do you think social trading platforms will go? What's the future for all all of this? How do you see it in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think what we believe in is that our social trading and investment network can replace traditional money management. I think that, again, we're just at the beginning of trust, moving from one-to-one interaction to trust being moved into the internet and into data and into a platform where you can actually trust the data, trust the company, and trust someone that you see on the social network. So our view is that the world is becoming more global, especially Generation Y has a very global mindset, and that people will want to invest overseas everywhere, whether you're in Israel or Germany or Italy or France or UK or Philippines. It doesn't matter where you are, you want to invest in the same themes and the same companies as like-minded individuals everywhere. And the talent of money management is also very well distributed around the world. So the top investor from Czech Republic might be someone better who trades German stocks than portfolio manager in Germany. And traditionally, portfolio managers, you had two options. They either are located where you are, all right? So if you're in Israel, you'll have an Israeli portfolio manager, which probably would know very little about stocks in Germany or UK. Or you would trust people in the financial centers, whether it's New York or Hong Kong or London. And I think our view of the future is that our network of people investing, and specifically our popular investor program, they will in effect eventually replace the traditional investment manager. And instead of relying on one person as an investor, you could make both your own decisions as well as invest and copy people and invest in portfolios to create a very diversified and global portfolio. Because again, people will need to understand how to invest in multi-asset classes and multi-geographies and different sectors. And you can't have one person who is an expert in all of these at the same time. So we believe the world will be more distributed, obviously digital, mobile, and social.
I'm curious about this. You said different stocks, different countries. What's your criteria to figure out which stocks will make it to the eToro platform? Which cryptocurrencies will you put there? Because you don't put everything, but how do you filter it out?
There's a process between our solutions group and our trading group to evaluate interest of clients in different assets. It also correlates with what we see on the internet. So we look at things like the search volumes of different markets. And generally our view is that we're building something sort of from the bottom up. So we want to first cater to the most common denominator globally. So we want to enable people to trade the most traded stocks in the world first. So because that fits a person, whether he's in Asia, in Europe, in Latin America, or in the US, everybody eventually wants to first trade the most tradable assets, right? So
Yep.
those are the assets we enter into the platform first. The Dow 30, the S&P 500, then all of the top European indices, underlying assets, as well as the Hong Kong ones, and then gradually now we're just adding exchange by exchange. First the top stocks, then we'll open up the entire stocks basically on each of the exchanges. So we are in process of expanding over the next 3 years to reach eventually a position where you can trade anything that's traded on any exchange, as well as things like options and futures. And the way we're building it from a roadmap point of view is we want to first add what will be used by as many people on the platform. You're sending money from one country to another, and suddenly that money disappears, and you need to wait for 48 hours to think, where is the money I sent from X to Y, and you don't see it on the GUI, and you try to convert one currency to another, and the costs could be horrendous. So building eToro as a computer scientist, I looked at how the financial system works, and I'm like, wow, it looks like almost there's no computer. Like people didn't understand how to use computers and software.